there's a number of circumstances under which Moses has an encounter with God. And they're very useful stories to understand because they point you to how that can make itself manifest in your own life. So the first real encounter that Moses has with God is in the story of the burning bush. So something attracts Moses' attention and he goes off to investigate. Okay, so, and then he sees that it's a burning bush. And so what's a burning bush? Well, it's the tree of life, and life is often represented as a branching tree. And it's on fire because it's compelling, because fire is compelling. And fire is alive, and it's a symbol of life because everything that is alive burns. That's what metabolism is. And so a burning bush is like life itself intensified to the ultimate degree, and that's what attracts Moses' attention. And he gets closer and closer to it, which means he investigates more and more deeply. As he investigates more deeply, he starts to understand that he's nearing the depths. He's on sacred ground. He takes off his shoes, and that's an indication of his willingness to transform in identity. And he continues to investigate, and then the voice of being itself speaks to him from the depths, and it tells him that it reveals itself to him as the ground of being itself, and it transforms him into the leader who invites his people away from slavery and who stands up against tyranny. And so that's the story of Moses.
And he went after the hippies with MK Ultra, with Tom O'Neill so brilliantly outlines in his book Chaos. They went after it and they created the Manson family. They created that family. They taught that guy how to do that so that that guy would kill people and he would be a psychopath, and now hippies would be psychopaths. And then all this anti-war shit would just get stopped by sensible people.
It's the best possible. Okay,
yeah, it's the highest goal.
Let me give you another example of this, if you don't mind. I'm going to use another biblical story.
While you were biblicaling, the lights are flickering behind you, almost like God is interacting with us. There's spirits in the room, Jamie. Have you noticed the light flickering? You haven't noticed it? Keep an eye on it.
Hopefully they're the right spirits.
Well, I think they always are.
So Abraham ends up with a new name because of doing that. That's how different he becomes in the course of his adventure. It's like Jacob. Jacob becomes Israel, and Abram becomes Abraham, because the consequence of him following the pathway of adventure, the calling, is a transformation that's so complete it's as if he's a different person. And now those stories are maps of that transformative process. So they culminate in the Christian view of things with the ultimate sacrificial offering. So that's the idea that lurks in the New Testament, is that the ultimate in transformation is brought about by your willingness to put absolutely everything on the line, no matter what. Right. If you orient your aim upward in the highest manner, the spirit that informs your thought will be the spirit of the highest possible aim. And God, that's something to know, man. So that's what a religious practice, a fundamental religious practice, is for. It's like, get rid of the corrupt motivation. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Pray for the salvation of your soul, that you're aiming right, because your aim is going to determine the content of your thoughts. And that is how it works technically. That's how it works neuropsychologically. Your thoughts are the handmaiden of your aim. It's an unbelievably brutal story. It's basically equivalent to the claim that the spirit of power is the ruler of the cosmos.
How can they do all this and ignore the possibility of an oppressor, like a male, adopting the identity of the oppressed, of a female, and entering into female spaces and oppressing females?
You can see that it can't be dealt with because
right? That is wild.
Look, dark tetrad types portray themselves as victims, right? That's one of their Machiavellian strategies. So now your question is, well, how do we segregate the real victims, so to speak, from the false victims? And one of the answers to that is, like, beware of those who claim victimization as a justification for their moral, what would you say, for their moral transgressions. I did this because I'm a victim. It's like, really?
Right.
Really? That was your reason? Poor you.
Right.
That's your story, you monster.